See how he rebounds today. There's a lot on the line here.
Well, Barsha, despite posting some videos trying to defend himself, I mean, at this point, it's irrefutable. When you do that and you crash into somebody right in front of the same corner, the AMA official of safety is standing there watching the exact same incident. It's pretty hard to argue.
And the DQ, you do not see that very often in motocross. All right, Fly Racing 30-second card is up. So much on the line, not just with Tomac and Sexton, but remember, Jason Anderson won last weekend's race. We rarely see a 450 field swell and get deeper and stronger as the year goes on, but that's been the case in 2022. So there are many different scenarios about to unfold. Let's go racing.
There's no sound in motorsports like that. The 450's barrel around the first
somebody's
corner.
Down, and it's Anderson.
Jason Anderson already off the bat. Unfortunately, one of our fastest riders, last week's winner, gets tangled up with...
Runkle's down with him. Christian Craig. I've not seen much of Craig getting hole shots this year, but he's got it. Roczen, Barsha, Shane McElrath as well.
Yeah, there's your hole shot. You expected to see a dozen of them by now, and that's one of the first ones by Christian Craig, but it doesn't take long for the 94 Ken Roczen to work his way into the front.
Roczen is so good. We say it every week early in these races. He goes by Craig, takes the lead. Barsha and McElrath, he's now part of the Muck-Off Club MX Yamaha team, and he's looking to take third from Barsha, and he does.
Well, great start by Shane, and good early moto here, and we see holding off third place right now. Wonder how long that white seat's going to stay white with this loamy dark dirt here. Chocolate cake all over the seat.
They were looking at Dungey and then Tomac. Barsha coming right back on McElrath, but he's on the outside of this corner. McElrath holds him at bay.
And another rider who has a lot of familiarity with this track here, Aaron Plessinger, is working his way in a good start there. A guy that's ridden GNCC races, but one of
the pegs. Go ahead.
Boy, but one of the things we were very surprised to hear, actually, that Chase Sexton has also raced a GNCC race here. So this Ironman Raceway since 1995 have been holding GNCCs, although this is our 9th edition of the AMA National.
Yeah, GNCC, they used the 12-mile route through the woods, and then they built a motocross track, and now we have this, the Ironman National, as Dungey goes after Barsha. Then you see Tomac a little bit further back. Sexton was 12th. He's into 10th now. Dungey looking to get around the 51.
Yeah, he wants to make quick work of this because he doesn't want to be battling with that known aggression of number 51, Justin Barsha, and he gets his way into third. He's already really nice job by Ryan Dungey working his way up into fourth place here. And as the ruts get deeper and deeper here at the Ironman, and this is only the first moto of the 450, I can't imagine what it's going to look like in another couple hours.
Barsha trying to get Dungey back. We're going to check in on Sexton here. He's in the center of that Thor battle box behind Plessinger. Plessinger makes a mistake. Sexton tries to take advantage. There's Tomac leaning on Barsha. Dungey going after McElrath. I told you this 450 field is deep. Dungey going to try to use the outside to inside on McElrath. Let's see if he can make it happen.
Yeah, we're barely a lap into this moto right now, and you know, watching the battle up front is great, but we have to look and see the number 3, Eli Tomac, and Chase Sexton, not the start he wanted for his battle for the championship.
Freddie Noren, actually, in the BBMX KTM, is in front of him as well as you watch that battle box. Dunge, did he make it happen on McElrath? He does. He completes it, and Tomac gets around Barsha. So now McElrath will have to deal with Tomac.
Yep, Dunge, nice move. I mean, we all kind of secretly hope, I mean, no question, the fans, we'd like to see Dunge get a podium before the season's over. Coming off of 5 years of retirement, as you see Eli Tomac scrub it on the monster launch, making that move, getting around McElrath and heading after Dungey.
Ooh, Sexton having a tough time here. Now getting an inside line on Noren. Let's see if he can complete the move. Beautiful job down the middle, but still not enough. Dungey and Tomac now going at it. Tomac is not wasting time. Oh, but he got cut off on the takeoff, couldn't jump.
Yep, that's the jump we talked about earlier on in the 250 class. That's a tough little combination. You got to air it out there. And unfortunately, for Eli Tomac, he wasn't able to get it, but he didn't lose a whole lot of time, and he's trying to make another move on the inside here.
And then McElrath hanging tough right there as well. Now they have caught Craig. This is for second. Dungey and Craig have been battling all summer long. Tomac's going to get them both. Had the inside, then Dunge off the racetrack, so he completes the pass on Dungey. Cannot quite get around his teammate Craig.
Yeah, we thought he was going to have a twofer there, but he didn't quite pull it off. But hopefully Christian Craig's well aware that that blue fender belongs to his championship leading teammate, and he's not going to hinder Eli.
Well, this has all worked out for Tomac, who now does take the measure. because look, Sexton's still not able to make moves. He finally squares up and makes a pass there. But he has not moved up as rapidly as Tomac has, who's into the number 2 spot of the monster Yamaha Star Racing machine.
Yeah, Sexton's now worked his way up, we mentioned in 6th, but he's still got to get around Justin Barcia. And again, he's going to be burning up a lot of energy doing this, and also it's kind of stressful. So that added stress elevates your heart rate, the blood pressure, the whole deal. This is not where he wanted to be. And
he does take the measure of Barcia around the outside, so that'll make it a little easier. And then I think that's Dungey. Yes, he has actually gotten into the picture. It would be Dungey next. So he's just outside there. He is on the left side. He's back in this battle. So we now have Tomac and Sexton getting a little bit closer on the racetrack than they were a lap or 2 ago.
Well, they've done a great job preparing this Ironman Raceway. Multiple lines. We early saw it in the 250 race where the extreme edges still hadn't roughened up yet. People were taking those lines on both edges of the track. Now those are gotten a little rougher, and people are able to start moving back into the lines that they used early in the practice and qualifying sessions.
Eli Tomac up to second, 2.5 seconds behind his old rival, Ken Roczen. Now he's dealing with his new Honda rival in Sexton for this title. And Tomac wants to get away right now as Sexton tries to go after the Dungey and Craig battle. I'm going to show you the gap between them here in this shot. It's the beta drone cam. See Tomac coming out of the corner and Sexton now getting out of it. Tomac over that hump, and now Sexton arrives there. And as far as the math is concerned, that's about 4 seconds. Dungey and Craig still battling. Dungey trying to make that inside work lap after lap. Been funny how it has worked all year. Dungey and Craig have been in battles all season. Sexton's closing down quick from the outside.
Hats off to the number 23 of Chase Sexton right now. He's just 3 seconds off of Eli Tomac. He's making a good run up through here. So he's charging forward. He knows he's got to go. He's got that red, white, and blue kind of a combo. Almost looks like Rainbow Sherbet outfit on, and looking like he's focusing forward.
Well, he just had the fastest lap the last time around. Of anyone, he ran a 2:01.6. Tomac a 2:01.9. No one else in the 2:01. So the title contenders are starting to up the game. Sexton needs to as he attacks Dungey here for third.
Yeah, nobody's in the 2:01s, but nobody's in the 2:02s.
Yeah.
These guys are in a league of their own, no question about that. So here Chase coming down that gigantic Godzilla jump downhill, picking some lines, seeing of where he can get around both of these riders up ahead of him, and then still, again, he's got to focus forward. Oh, that is, wow.
The lines did not work in that exchange, the left and then the right. He was not where he wanted to be.
I'm not sure if he was trying to pop out of that rut on purpose or not, but that was not the action he wanted. That could have easily thrown him on the ground, and I'm sure that's he won't be taking that approach the next lap. So.
And he closes right back in on Dungey, who is right there on Craig. So this is critical. Third, fourth, fifth. Sexton trying to put in a drive. He switches from the outside to the inside on Dungey now.
Full scrub off the face of that jump to get back down on the inside, knowing that the end of the straightaway is a right-hander. So once he's going parallel to Dungey all the way down, now they cross over again, which is a surprise to me that Chase would give it that inside up, but he makes it work.
Confident he can hold Dungey at bay, even to the outside. Now it's Tomac's teammate that he's dealing with in Craig, and he is crossing all over this racetrack. Sexton looking for running room.
Yeah, and I think he was also confident in Ryan Dungey, to be honest with you, because you kind of have to know who you're racing, and Chase does. So here, again, scrubbing it, staying low. This is a tricky section coming up on the wall jump in front of the mechanics area. Not even a chance to glance over your mechanic here. You don't see one of these guys looking at those boards. You can't. It's too tricky there.
So a couple of shots at it from Sexton, not able to get close enough to get Craig. Meanwhile, it looks like Tomac has caught Roczen. This is our Thor battle box with the Lucas Oil helicopter showing you Tomac going for the number 1 spot.
This is great. We got 2 battles in a split screen right here, and Tomac's trying to make it work on Ken Roczen here, but also you got Chase Sexton trying to make a run. So this up over the Godzilla here, big air, big elevation change, and Eli's going to be launching back down trying to get a run on Ken Roczen.
So 2 Honda HRC machines and 2 Yamahas. Let's send it down to Jason Thomas. Go ahead, JT.
Best tracks. Sorry, guys, I cut out there. This is a great track for Ken Roczen. In fact, it's his 2nd best racetrack on the circuit overall for his career. Eli Tomac, to his credit, he mentioned last week the biggest thing that held him back in Moto 2 was not being able to make quick moves. So I was looking for aggression early, and that's exactly what we got. He didn't waste any time getting to the front.
Did that in Moto 1 last week, but yeah, Moto 2 you just kept waiting for, and it did not materialize. Now only one rider standing between Tomac and the lead.
It is. Last week we talked about Eli. We kind of speculated that possibly his tire choice might not have been the best thing going to a paddle. I talked to him after the race. He said, absolutely not. If that tire works at my track in Cortez, Colorado, it'll work anywhere. And he said, I just should have made a bigger change to the front end of the bike. I was having trouble steering it and not really able to make the changes. Jason Thomas just referenced there, but here you see him making changes anywhere he wants. Right?
Sexton on the inside of Craig, and let's see if he can finish it off. He does. So he's in the third. Tomac on the outside trying to get Roczen. Can he leap by him? No.
Yeah, we're looking at simultaneous passes here, and most very important passes too. But now Chase Sexton has got his way right behind, only 2 points in deficit of Eli Tomac. But Eli Tomac, I can't imagine, is going to stay where he is very long.
Well, Roczen's a critical juncture. He's Sexton's teammate, and the more he battles Tomac, the better chance of Sexton catching Tomac. There you see the gap.
Yes, and I think right now, you have to be honest with yourself here. I mean, you see that gap closing down. You got Eli Tomac trying to make a move on Ken Roczen. But if Eli Tomac does pass Ken Roczen, I think you're going to see Ken Roczen not try to impede Chase Sexton here. This is way too important for Honda. I mean, it's been a few years since Honda won a championship here. This is really important to them.
And Roczen is a tough rider to pass, not from a defensive standpoint. He's just so smart. He'll have a way of just going where you want to go. It's never dirty. It's never aggressive. But he is as crafty as they come, Roczen, when he's on his game. We've seen races where he's not feeling physically fit, and that's a different story. But if he's strong today, he's not easy to get around.
And right there, you see Ken Roczen come out of that corner right there. Believe it or not, he's using what Chase Sexton damaged in that berm. He's now turned into a proper line.
Wow.
So that berm caved away, and I saw Roczen the lap before jump out of that berm, and he just did it. So remember, Ken Roczen is helping his teammate Chase Sexton right now. If he can hold Eli Tomac at bay and he can impede his forward progress, even a tenth of a second or a half of a second a lap, this allows Chase to gather up and get right behind. And you do see that gap, it looks like, between Chase Sexton and Eli Tomac starting to get closer. So Ken Roczen's doing his job, holding up Eli Tomac if at all possible, and letting Chase Sexton join the crowd.
Oh yeah, Sexton is definitely closing. Tomac going to try a move on the outside through the rollers. This will set Tomac up for the inside here. Roczen's going to be very quick on the entrance, not quick enough. Tomac's on the inside. That run is very difficult. Tomac handles it. He's into the lead.
What an impressive move by Eli Tomac there. He got his bike back on the ground and just grabbed a big handful of that 450 Yamaha. Was able to squirt up inside of Ken Roczen and make the move. A little bobble there, but nothing that he can't handle. Coming out of that first corner there, and here comes Chase. We got all three big players. Here they come, right here in the same shot. What a great drone footage here. This has just been such a perfect addition to it. This is what we wanted. This is a bird's eye view of the whole race that we need to see in one shot.
And you can hear the crowd coming to life as well. Good shots from that Lucas Oil helicopter. Now the pressure is on Sexton to respond. You know Tomac's going to put in burner laps now to try to get away. Can Sexton get around his teammate and keep the gap close?
Yeah, Chase Sexton's already within just a half a second or so, maybe a second of Ken Roczen. And again, if Ken Roczen even slows Chase down for a moment, I'll be surprised. I think he's going to yield here.
It was 3.2 seconds at one point, the gap between first and third. Now it is about 1 second, they're saying. So Sexton has closed in a little bit while they were battling. Yeah, it's definitely closer than it was. Let's see how the Honda teammates work here in this fight for the number 2 spot.
Yeah, a lap ago when we were watching this exact section called Hoosier Hole for the state. We're in the Hoosier state, right? You know, if you're a basketball fan, you know about the Hoosiers. So there we see before it was 3 seconds in that little area down there, and now it's 2 seconds, the gap between Tomac and Sexton, that is. So it looks now as maybe he's creeped up about maybe a half a second, but Chase has got to get around Ken, and again, I do not think Ken's going to be battling him too hard.
All right, Sexton enters this corner on the outside, try to set himself up for the inside here. First time he's been able to show his teammate a wheel. Roczen definitely knows who it is now.
Yeah, he
drag race to the sand rollers. There he goes.
There's the answer to your question right there. He glanced over and like, here, Chase, go for you know, you got a little more speed than I, can't really help you anymore. I did the best I could. And, you know, of course you want to be the top dog on the team, but let's be realistic at this point right now. These two guys have dominated 18 of the 20 motos, so there's nobody kidding themselves.
2.4 seconds in it between Tomac and Sexton. See Dungey and Craig still battling. Now it is 4th and 5th. Plessinger, Barsha, Noren, McElrath, Malcolm Stewart rounds out your top 10. And it's what the fans came to Indiana to see. Tomac versus Sexton for the lead.
And the one rider that's actually making his run up there that's nice is Jason Anderson. We saw him laying in the first corner.
Wow.
Last week's winner is already in 10th place. Again, 30 seconds behind, but come on, he's come from last 40th place to 10th. So great job.
Halfway through, 15 minutes down, 15 minutes to go. In 15 minutes, you can make a quick phone call to Geico and save 15% on your insurance. This might be the most critical 15 minutes of the whole season right now, as it looks to me like Sexton is closing on Tomac.
He does, absolutely closing, or no question about it. And it's just nice to watch Chase ride, you know, balls of his feet. I saw him in that last couple corners ago. He was going to hit some bumps. He sort of elevated himself on his leg, propped himself up a little bit so his back end of his butt wasn't getting beat up on the seat, and just let the bike absorb the bumps, and he powered out of the corner. So just fun to watch these guys. They're so talented. I just big fans of both of them.
Launching out of that Hoosier hole there, you're watching Sexton. Roczen back to 3rd. Might have a 3-way battle soon between Roczen, Craig, and Dungey, but you know, everyone is focused on this. Tomac versus Sexton. A 1-point series lead for Tomac. And that 1 point doesn't sound like much, but it's the difference between Sexton has to do better than Tomac over these final 4 motos. If they split it, let's say they each get 2 firsts, 2 seconds, that 1 point would give the title to Tomac. So the point is, Sexton has to go out and beat him, and really would be very helpful if he could do it right now.
He has to, have no question. He has to do it and take this away and get the momentum back in his favor. He's won 4 of the last 5 motos. Seems like he's had the momentum, but this is exactly what Tomac needed to do. He needs to pop that bubble. Tomac knows that Chase came in here with a little bit of confidence. Back of his head, he's like, look, I really love this track. I'm going to ride well here. And again, I got the momentum on my side. And then I love the last race, Fox Raceway. So here he is. He thought it, and Eli knows that. He's going to go, man, if I can just burst the bubble a little bit here, it's a big difference.
He's got it down to 1.8 last time around. Sexton was 0.2 of a second quicker than Tomac. But Tomac is so strong late in the motos and not prone to making mistakes. To just go out there and get Eli Tomac for the lead is something very few have ever been able to do in Lucas Oil Pro Motocross. And that's the challenge in front of Sexton right now. And the lap traffic does not want to be part of this story. They are basically stopped on the track to let these guys by.
You know, I didn't have the luxury of sitting in on the riders meeting by the AMA officials, but there's a good chance when championships do come on the line, you know, for those of us who have been in there and listened to them, they do mention it during the riders meeting. Hey, listen, you guys got a pretty important championship on the line. Don't be that guy. And so they do tend to mention it. I don't know if they did today, but wouldn't have not surprised me had they done that.
Sexton able to muscle the Honda through there, standing up, feet on the pegs through these ruts.
Gosh.
The midsection of the course usually tends to favor Tomac a little bit, and he gaps it back out. And then getting toward the finish line, Sexton will close back in. So the track, with the timing loops, they actually divide it into 3 sectors. It's like the first 2 seem to favor Sexton. Midway through, Tomac has something. And here's Sexton closing back in.
Little bobble there coming out of that corner by Chase. You saw his rear end stay down in the bottom part of the rut when he was trying to kind of to get his bike to climb out of it a bit. But these ruts are in such a manner that one little mistake in a corner can make all the difference in winning and losing this race.
And they've checked out of the rest of the field. That is no surprise. The championship intensity bringing them to another level. 0.3 quicker the last time around, Sexton compared to Tomac. And it's even closer with each shot we see.
Yeah, I actually like that line Chase took there. It was a little bit shorter distance. You know, if you're going about the same speed, you're covering less ground, you're going to make up time. And so Chase did a nice job getting back on the gas, taking a little bit inside. But, boy, you can just hear each one of these guys grabbing the throttle for all the 450 motors are worth there.
Right now, Tomac, the 1-point lead would go to a 4-point lead if he wins this moto. But you've got to stay with us. 10 minutes and 2 laps to go, and Sexton just keeps locking it down. It's 1. 1.1 seconds, where it was 1.8.
Yeah, it's either going to be a +4 or a -2. What's it going to be, right?
That's right. Yes, yeah, it's a 3-point differential between a moto win and a second place. So that's what's at stake in the small picture in the championship in this one moto. Oh, no! Oh, boy. Now, Sexton, a mistake. He cut inside of that tree turn. See how the officials call that one? You know, the Yamaha folks will want to look at it. That's a tough one. Wow.
Ouch.
Yes.
There's nothing he could have done, but I possibly think I think if he would have backed off a little bit on the
take a
throttle,
look at it again here.
maybe raise his hand a little bit, like, oops, I obviously made a mistake. I can't do anything about it.
Oh, boy. Well, sometimes
you know what? In slow-mo, he didn't get as aggressive as I thought he would there, so that's going to be
right there.
Yeah, that's going to be a tough one, and now here we are. What's going on? We didn't see what happened, but obviously Eli had to have made a mistake somewhere in that quarter of the track, and now Chase is all over him. So, of course, the Yamaha rider, they're going to argue their case, and Honda's going to argue their case. But
here it is, wheel to wheel. Tomac and Sexton for the lead at the Ironman National. Sexton has done the job. He was 3.2 seconds back at one point. Now we're down to mere bike lengths.
Boy, oh boy, this is an impressive little couple laps of Chase.
Whoa,
other
Sexton
than that
inside.
one bobble. Oh, man, I don't even know where Chase gained all that time on Eli. I'd like to see figured out where it is, but he's just riding really well. Good line selection. Oops, that one was maybe not the best one, but it's he's running it hard.
Send it down to JT.
Guys, you're asking where he found that time. A lapper got in Eli Tomac's way on that really fast double over the hump, and Eli couldn't do it. Chase Sexton did it right behind him and closed right up to him, so nothing other than bad luck for Tomac there.
All right, so we'll see then, thanks JT, if Tomac can pull it back out. Like I said, this section of the track seems to have an edge, and you see the gap right now is a little bigger than it was at the beginning of the lap. But then the latter portion of the track, Sexton is able to close it back down, but a lot of it is just line choice. That is the team manager there for Tomac's squad, Jeremy Coker. They got the calculators out.
He's sending a text saying, hey, replay that footage. Yeah,
he might be.
Again, he's going to argue his case, but, I mean, I'm putting you on the spot right now, Weech. What's your call? You're the official.
Well, look, the general thing they try to say is if you're off the track, you cannot gain an advantage. So I think they're going to look at, did Sexton exit further behind than he was going into that corner? And that is very close.
It was really, really close. Unfortunately, I agree with you. They changed the rule years ago where you don't have to re-enter the track where you went off. That would have been an impossible thing for Chase to do it for safety and many other reasons. But I don't know. I'm leaning towards let the boys race and figure out who's going to win here. I don't think Chase gained an advantage. What happened was when they closed down JT so astutely told us what happened. He's a racer. He knows. So
all right, here we go. Another lap clicks off. We're going to get the times and the gap. And there's Lars Lindstrom, the team manager, already talking to Jeff Canfield here of MX Sports Pro Racing. And we got to imagine it's about that tree turn. Now lap traffic is impeding the progress of Sexton. Now he gets around both of them and somehow gets right back to the rear wheel of Tomac.
Yeah, I was trying to read the lips of Jeff Canfield, what he was saying. He kept pointing his finger, two. Is he talking 2 points, 2 positions, or what is he saying? Or, you buy me 2 beers and I'm going to turn my blind cheek. I don't know what he's saying, but I don't think it was the latter.
It would take a lot more than that.
But yeah, I would have liked to have. Saw what they were saying or listened to what they were saying. But man, the racing is just so good. This is what we all wanted and we all expected, and they're delivering it.
Yeah, absolutely. And they didn't really have the starts either. They had to pick their way through the field, and somehow they did it in unison and have given us the battle. Now Sexton has done the job of closing, but Tomac has done a phenomenal job of holding him back.
Phenomenal job of holding him back and picking up the pace and regathering after that lap rider. Sends you in a little bit of a panic. Chase has done a phenomenal job of regrouping after taking out those Geico banners right there. And another one, the blue flag and the officials around the track and the riders themselves. I'm tipping my hat to those guys right now because I'm seeing a lot of people yielding, a lot of riders understanding, don't get in the way of this battle.
Yeah, they've been exceptionally easy to get around, except that one segment there with Sexton, but he was able to quickly get back to the rear wheel of Tomac. Oh, this is so good. These fans are on the side of the track. Perfect conditions, perfect weather, and the battle they all wanted to see.
You pointed that out earlier as they come underneath that iconic covered bridge here. Chase just seems quicker on that segment of the track, and he is definitely gaining on Eli over that part.
Coming down to the finish line here, we'll have another look at the lap times. Everyone going wide. That hook on that inside right, it looks promising. It just has not worked. 0.9 is the gap. But last time through here, Sexton was held up by traffic. Doesn't have that problem this time. Tomac, a mistake. Sexton in the lead.
That line was setting up. Chase had been taking it a lap or two before, right along the left side of the mechanics area. He squared that berm up. Eli made a mistake, and that's all it took.
I was waiting for it in the next corner where Sexton has been very fast. He got there one turn earlier, and now it's on Tomac to keep Sexton in sight.
I'll be very curious to see if Eli can regather himself here and start following. I think he can. I think he's going to follow Chase and see a few of the lines he's making on that one side of the track, and he's going to realize exactly where Chase has been making up that time.
And this is the area of the track where Tomac has been quick, down at the bottom of this leap. Can he get him back? Sexton throwing down right now to try to open the gap.
You know, I saw Eli grab a tear-off when he went up and over the Godzilla jump, and then it looked like he was trying to reach for a secondary one as he came back on the other side of it. It's like, how many tear-offs do you need, or are you out of tear-offs? I'm going to keep an eye on that.
Sexton is doing it. He's starting to get away. The fans love this. Sexton out of Illinois is talking to the Chicago Dirt Riders, the local club and the tracks where Sexton grew up. There's a big pack of them here pulling for their guy. But Tomac, he wants to spoil the party and get him back. Fantastic racing here from Ironman Raceway.
Meet Renee.
The 50th anniversary season of Pro Motocross is brought to you by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on motorcycle insurance. Motosport.com. Make your next ride your best ride. And by Monster Energy. Unleash the beast.
We're back. Nothing has changed while we are away at break here on MAV TV. Continues to be Chase Sexton versus Eli Tomac. Sexton just inching away from his rival in the series, looking to retake the points lead if he wins this moto. But you can see Tomac is still lurking. More lap traffic. Sexton gets around Cullen Park in the Phoenix Honda, and Tomac is right there, actually on the inside looking for a pass.
Using that left rider as an advantage. I mean, Chase just had to take a little bit different line than he normally would, but I think Eli, we talked about this last...
That inside line has not worked, but Tomac is there. He might be able to get around. No! Side by side again over the wall jump. Sexton knifes over to the side to get in front of Tomac. Tomac has found something special, and he takes the lead. Where did this come from?
That's incredible. I expected him, honestly, to drop into Chase's outside-inside combo line there. He didn't. He just went around the outside the long way and just carrying so much more momentum. And Chase, I think Chase is almost stunned, but he's not going to take it lying down.
And the crowd, the Tomac fans, come to life. They bumped wheels. Sexton was lucky to not crash.
Yep, dropping over into that rut there. Eli was headed for it, and Chase didn't think he was, and they definitely rubbed a little front and rear there.
And 1.7 seconds at one point was the gap that Sexton had opened up, but Tomac has uncorked it to retake the lead.
Interesting to see if they can get to that finish line before the 40 seconds is up. They might be receiving the 2-lap board when they come around the finish line here. Boy, this is exactly what we wanted to see.
It's going to be tight. I'm going to think it's going to be 2 to go as we watch with the ETS drone camera, and now it is Tomac starting to pull away.
This is incredible right here in the tree corner. I think they've got 3 to go. We're going to see here. It's 15 seconds. I don't think they can get there. Do you think?
Yeah,
I think
you're right.
You're right here.
Yep. They're not going to make it.
Down in the Hoosier hole, coming up and out. Big right-hander drop back down here, and this is a sky shot that we've seen Tomac come up short a couple times, but not this time. That is so darn hard combination. These guys just are flying through there.
Tomac has just thrown down, taking the lead. Now he has the 1.7 second gap. And it will be 2 to go the next time they come around because the clock has expired. So Eli Tomac has put in an unbelievable lap here, and it might be a championship-level lap because he was against the ropes because Sexton had caught him and passed him, and Eli has found another gear.
This is it right here. We've got the 2-lap board is out. Sorry about that. And so the point is Eli Tomac just blew a 2:01.3. I shake my head every time these guys do this, but Eli just did his best lap of the race just then. How do you do that?
Unbelievable.
How do you go
29 minutes into it?
The two-lap board just came out. He just did a 2:01.3, his fastest lap of the race. I mean, Chase's best lap was a 2:01.1, but last lap he did a 2:05, so he had a bit of an issue. But you don't just do that. I don't know where Eli had that extra speed hiding. It was certainly in his back pocket when he needed it.
And it is the exact opposite for Sexton, who just ran a 2:05. Tomac has put 4 seconds into Sexton in that lap before the 2 laps to go sign came out.
Because you remember that pass came just shortly after where the finish line was. So yeah, it was basically, it was not a combination of a pass and a lap time there. Eli just did a 2:01 and Chase did a 2:05 almost exactly on the lap. So there's 4 seconds right there.
Well, any championship that is close like this, each sector gets magnified. That one lap, that is clutch. That is championship style material from Eli Tomac. And it might make all the difference because we thought Sexton was about to win this moto and take the points lead.
Well, those you're out there on their Saturday barbecue, I want to say put a fork in it and turn it over. It's done because Eli Tomac, I just don't see unless something crazy happens here. That was an incredible move in that one lap there. Don't like seeing him hit that jump like that, but I do say, the last time we saw something like that was Schugel. They both did the fastest lap of the race on the last lap. This is insane.
So it will be white flag next time around for Eli Tomac, who's really opened it up on his championship rival here. I thought it was over. Sexton had done the hard work. He had caught him. He had passed him. He had begun to pull away. And then Tomac puts in his best lap of the race, reclaims the lead, and now is looking at 1 to go.
Watch what he's doing right now. If you just watched that one lap, you'd say this is a qualifying session. He looks like he's charging harder physically than he was the whole race, and I believe he is. That's how you do your fastest lap. And then right there, backing it up. Good on Chase. Chase came back with a 2:02 there, but still, it's boy, Eli, remarkable into the race.
Yes, it was both Tomac's best lap and the worst for Sexton. Now it's about equal. They're both back into the 2:02s together, but that one lap makes all the difference, and it has been a trademark of Tomac his whole career. Fitness. Late in the race, beast mode charges. There's been a couple this year where Sexton was able to counter, but this time, unbelievable strength from the number 3.
That was just impressive. Obviously hasn't taken the checkered flag yet, but just what he just did was that right there. We're talking about, oh my goodness, the announcer's curse.
Yep.
That just was a little too close for anybody's comfort, but Eli's just charging forward.
Well, you know he's riding the edge right now. He's looking over.
He looked over his shoulder right there and said, see, looked over again.
Yes.
Because he's probably had once in his career, looked over his shoulder and he thought he knew where he could, looking back, knew where his competitor was, but now he's double checking to make sure he's really back that far.
And a couple more mistakes from Eli here. That's like almost an out-of-body experience on that one lap to change everything. It's almost like he's surprised to see Sexton is 4 seconds back.
He's surprised that he was able to do what he did, but I think in one side of himself. But I talked about the fact that he wanted to burst this bubble here. Chase had all the. Look, he looks back again. When have you ever seen Chase Eli look over his shoulder that many times from into a moto? He's wanting to make sure Chase isn't closing, and Chase is closing now.
He might be out of time, but Sexton has reeled him back in. But we're into the final stage, and now the final corner. The battle you wanted to see. They both had their shot at it. Eli Tomac was clutch. He delivers the first moto at Ironman.
And you don't see any fist pump out of either of these guys. That's interesting. Normally you'll see a fist pump. He didn't see it.
Well, there's a lot more work to do with 3 motos left in this championship. What? Aaron Plessinger has taken 3rd in this moto. Our full focus was on the leaders, but he has overhauled Craig and Dungey. And the rider who loves this racetrack considers it his home race coming out of Ohio here in Indiana. And he's going to put the KTM in the box.
Okay, I'm giving us a hall pass on that one. We really didn't even have time to look over and realize what a great ride that Aaron Plessinger put in. And congratulations to him for rounding out the podium. But I'm still, that was
stunning.
Man.
That's all-time type stuff right there from Eli Tomac, ET3, trying to get his 4th championship. Listen to that crowd.
Yeah, Ironman Raceway is so good for viewing. It's just in a bowl, and you can position yourself in the shade or in this Raceway, wins him a championship. That's all he needs.
Yep, so that's what's on the line here. The setup for the finale. The penultimate round of the championship is here. And look at Sexton getting himself fired up for battle. It has got to be tense down there. They've kept it clean. They've kept it respectful. They talked about the trust they have while battling each other, but it is about to rev up here.
Oh, good jump by Chase Sexton to see if he can hold on. He does. His teammate looks like Kenny Roczen right inside. Eli Tomac's not bad. He's back in about 5th. He got a pretty good jump, too.
But Sexton is going to grab a very critical Motorsport.com hole shot over his teammate Roczen, and then Dungey banging bars there with Craig. Then it's Plessinger on the 7, and I do not see.
Eli was back in about 6th there. He looks like he's just on the inside on Ryder's right, heading up to Godzilla.
Roczen is taking the lead back over from his teammate Sexton. We say every darn moto how good he is on the opening lap. He retakes the lead from his teammate. Plessinger is up to 3rd. Yeah, but Sexton has the start he wants.
Yeah, Aaron Plessinger just came up short on Godzilla coming down, and it looks like we see the familiar number 5. We're so used to seeing that, but now Eli Tomac is either in 4th or 5th, so he's made a couple of quick passes right off the start.
Yeah, I think he squeezed it in front of Plessinger, now trying to get Dungey. We'll have it for you in a moment, but either way, Roczen, we know this, has retaken the lead, had it, Sexton got around him, scored that whole shot, and now Roczen back to the number 1 spot.
Yeah, down at a Hoosier hole there. I think named promptly after Hoosier. We're in the Hoosier State.
Oh, yeah.
And then he's off here. There's a big triple right here. But right when you land there, clearing that wall jump, heading underneath the covered bridge down this straightaway. This could be a tricky section. In and out of the shadows. Lots of ruts right here. Some pretty steep faces on these jumps. So you got to pay attention there. Don't let your guard down.
Tomac has done it. He's cleared both Dungey and Plessinger. He turned a bad start into 3rd place on the opening lap. Sexton, meanwhile, looking to take the lead from his teammate.
Some huge hooked out ruts there. Those ruts have gotten so deep. That inside line is what you want to take, except they're just so full of ruts. It's hard to make any good drive out of it. So crossover, get the green flag under the start-finish line there.
Sexton over that wall jump. Another line on his teammate. Can he run it down to the inside? It's where they hook onto the start. Wow, Roczen riding tight with his teammate. I think he just realized who it was, and now Sexton to the lead.
Yeah, no question. We both thought that the same thing. No question. Kenny's not going to battle and knock down his teammate, but I'm not sure. Maybe he didn't know it was Chase, but Chase was there, and the second look over, he goes, oh, wait, that's Chase. I got to get out of the way.
So now Sexton back to the lead. There's Tomac lurking in 3rd. Roczen, just a power move around the outside, almost gets his teammate back again.
Yeah, Kenny Roczen, there's nobody that has any better speed than he does in the first part of races. He's kind of legendary for that. And right here, he's just not going to run it in, not to be overly aggressive. Let Chase just have a little bit of free space. But this is where Kenny Roczen, as a teammate, can help Chase. We talk about just running a little interference. Kenny, at the beginning of the races, is able to run those race pace. He can run those lap times equal to these other 2 riders here. And if he could just kind of stay in the way and just impede Eli's progress, that would be a big thing for Chase.
So a critical juncture, even though we're only 4 minutes into a 30-minute and 2-lap moto. But this is Chase Sexton's chance to try to get away and get the points back that he lost to Tomac in Moto 1. But again, long way to go, especially against the likes of Eli Tomac, who is as fit and as strong late in the race as anyone who's ever done it. But right now, it's advantage to the 23.
It is. It's just riding really well. Of course, Chase is, but that first moto, it's a little bit of a head shaker for him. He thought he had it covered, then he lost it. That was kind of like popped the bubble, and then he fought back at the very end. So that, to me, I would be, if I were in the Honda camp, I would have been reminding him how good he did on that last lap. Look at your lap time. Look what you did. You're capable of this, Chase. You can do this all the way to the end.
Event points as they run. That's if we calculated the overall right now, but we got a long way to go. Roczen holding his own in 2nd. Dungey is 4th. Then it's Plessinger, Craig, Wilson, Stewart, Anderson, Freddie Noren, and Marshall Welton just outside the top 10 as we go back to Tomac attacking Roczen. And you see Dungey and Plessinger, the Red Bull KTM teammates, battling behind them.
Yeah, that roost is flying, but not quite as much as you normally see your Ironman, sorry. But I was looking underneath that banner there, going through the corner, rutted section here. This is where we saw earlier in the 250 the line was a little bit different because Jet Lawrence was actually jumping across the ruts But this track is just getting rougher and rougher, and the ruts are getting deeper and deeper.
Advantage Sexton to Tomac right now, 2.1 seconds to watch with the Beta Motorcycles drone cam. And there you see, that gap is not that large. So Tomac has plenty of time to work with this.
Boy, they just make that leap just look like nothing. But you see all the ruts there, the multiple selections. And then when you come down here, out of those different lines, you settle it into 2 or 3. But you have 4 or 5 to choose, and then select from there, and they come out. And Kenny just bangs that berm, comes out a little later than Eli. Eli pivots off of it, up the monster launch.
Well, where you really see with that drone cam is those hooks that you like to talk about. The berms are good for about 40% of the corner. And then the shape is completely abnormal of the way you would like to hit a corner.
Yeah, you just saw Eli just take quite a jolt there coming out of that tree corner. That rut's getting a big hook and a big old pothole in it. And
let's talk about what creates that scenario, why they're not ideal.
Well, the inconsistency, for one, in the dirt, there's just an inconsistency. There's one's firmer than the other section, and the other section of the dirt's a little softer. The tires, knobs, digging at it every single time. It's just like a chainsaw chopping at it, but the dirt breaks away a little bit differently. Then once it hits that bump, the wheel pops up and then comes down somewhere else and digs harder. So there's just a combination of things that make a track get rougher and rougher. And again, the lines are getting deeper and deeper. Now Eli goes to the inside here, and you can see at the very end it almost threw him out to the outside because the thing's getting what you talked about, a hook.
So Tomac cannot get around Roczen at least early here, and now it's 3.4 seconds between Sexton and Tomac. So Roczen doing his job right now. And as I mentioned in Moto 1, Roczen is not an aggressive rider. He doesn't make contact with others, but he's a very smart rider. So he can be difficult to pass even though he won't rub you.
This is exactly what I mentioned just a few minutes ago. Kenny Roczen could be a huge ally for Chase Sexton and be the definition of teammate. This is a situation where if he can run early on for the next maybe first 15 minutes of this race, do what Ken Roczen can do, run this race pace of these leaders and separate, give Chase a chance just to use that speed that he showed in qualifying and give himself a gap.
Leaping back up and down Godzilla. The Thor battle box, by the way, is showing us the Dungey and Plessinger battle. That's the Red Bull KTM teammates for 4th and 5th. Then Craig is 6th. Anderson, Stewart, Wilson, and Freddie Noren round out the top 10. So a couple of battles to watch in this racetrack. Little mistake there from Eli in the exit of that left-hand corner.
Yeah, you just see how violent the sport can be at times. Sometimes it's poetry in motion, sometimes it's violent. Eli right there, back on the gas, full throttle, big square edge bumps, just violently shook his feet off the pegs. But, at that point, you just keep the gas on, and eventually you'll find those foot pegs again.
Get Plessinger all over Dungey right now. He's looking to make a pass. He got him in Moto 1. See if he can do it again in Moto 2. This is Plessinger's best track and what he considers his home track. Tomac starting to close again on Roczen down this long straightaway under the famous covered bridge. He's got the inside. Is he close enough to complete this pass? The hook got him. Couldn't get a clean exit out of that corner.
Eli needs to make this move soon. And, you're seeing Chase right now just popped his best lap of the early part of this race.
Oh, Tomac almost had it. Roczen protects. Eli squares him. Can he get the drive? He's got it as he puts the Yamaha back on the ground and moves in a second.
Can anybody turn a dirt bike better than Eli Tomac like that? That's just phenomenal to watch. You see him just turn on what appears to be nothing. But Roczen retaliating, keeping it real.
Yeah.
This is what we all wanted to see right here. And you know what? You're talking about some of the riders. These guys, Eli and Kenny's he's trying his hardest. He's really trying to help Honda win this championship.
Honda has not won this title since 2004. 18 years. All the major manufacturers have won this title in between. Suzuki, Kawasaki, Yamaha, KTM, Husqvarna. They've all done it. So there's a lot of pressure.
It is. It's, we call it the curse of the goat, like the curse of the Bambino, but it's a shocking statistic in our sport that Honda has not won it since Ricky Carmichael won it back in 2004 in this premier class.
So Roczen trying everything he can to help the brand by battling Tomac right now. There you see the stats the last time each manufacturer has won. And it has been a long time for Honda, which was once the dominant player in this sport. So that's what's at stake here. Now, if Tomac were to win the title this year, he almost made a mistake in that same.
It's the same corner that caught Sexton in Moto 1. There's definitely a big hook there. That's harder than it looks right there. You're jumping up into a face of a corner full of ruts in a tree corner. it's an incline that's much steeper than it looks.
Let's get to say what's on the line as we watch this Dungey and Plessinger battle. Dungey here is the last rider to win both Monster Energy Supercross and Lucas Oil Pro Motocross titles in the same season, and that was all the way back in 2015.
Tomac is first retirement. That was his first retirement, right?
1.0. Ryan Dungey. He's come out of retirement now, hadn't raced since 2017. He deals with his teammate Plessinger, and we'll keep tabs on the Tomac and Sexton gap, which sits at 4.5 seconds right now. But this has been a great fight between the teammates.
Yeah, I'm waiting for him to click off that lap timer so I can look on the transponders right now. But Chase is continually staying in the 201s, and I have not seen Eli Tomac break into the 201s yet. We know he's capable of it, but the fact that Chase Sexton is running 201s, 201.3s, 201.8s, those numbers on this track, this is the last moto of the day. You can see from the drone cam and other footage how rough it's getting. Those berms are not, these ruts got hooks in them. The berms are not smooth. That's an impressive feat that what Chase Sexton's doing.
And by the way, last time around, Sexton a little bit quicker than Tomac again. So it's a 5-second lead now between the Honda man and the Yamaha rider. And Dungey, who's being pushed by his teammate, you can now see Roczen in some of the longer straightaways on the track. So this could ultimately be a podium battle today, and the world has been waiting for Dungey, who used to live on the podium, to finally get back to the box. Today could be the day. Here's your motorsport.com whole shot replay.
And you see right here Chase Sexton using that little extra elbow room of the doghouse to do what he needs to do, get around the outside. Kenny starts squirting up underneath, but Chase holds on to that whole shot. But, Eli Tomac's back in about 4th or 5th right there. He's not in a bad position, but he does not come out as well as I thought he was going to. But it's still, Chase Sexton did exactly what he needed to do.
Yes, that's right. And that was a massive jump out of the gate. And that is all instinct right there. So a clutch performance with the clutch lever for Sexton to get that start. As Plessinger continues to lean on Dungey. That's what we're watching right now. Sexton, you can see now, has the most hole shots of anyone this year. And thought Dungey was going to get past, but he holds Plessinger back.
He is, and not only that, we can see just on the top of that screenshot there, right there, that looks like the number 94 of Ken Roczen. So these two are battling really strong, and they're moving their way up towards Ken Roczen just by a bit.
So Plessinger has to go back to work on his veteran teammate, Dungey. There's been some rumors circulating. Dungey was just coming out of retirement. Originally, they said for 2 races this year. He's going to do all 12, obviously. Now, we're hearing rumors of will he come back and race some more next year. That is not out of play. He has not said no to that. He hasn't said yes either. But obviously, it's his call. If he doesn't want to race, he could easily have just said that. So that is interesting how this will transpire in the future. And we're about to have yet another Dungey and Roczen battle. Just like we got a time machine right here.
It's flashback 5 years ago, 7 years ago. You know, it doesn't matter. But yeah, we've got to all witness some epic battles between these riders. And right now, Aaron Plessinger's like, are you kidding me? This guy isn't he like 50 or something? Or I think Aaron Plessinger's going to be handing an AARP card to Ryan after this race and say, dude, you need to realize that you're not supposed to be racing this hard.
Yeah, Plessinger's entire 450 career, for the most part, Dungey was retired the entire time. Plessinger won the 2018 250 championship. Dungey was already a year into retirement at that point. Now they're teammates. Now they're battling. And Plessinger is getting it done by any means necessary. He's not beautiful through those corners, but he's not slow either.
He used those long legs, started dog paddling through there. Dungey looks over and goes, no way, dude, I ain't giving it up this easy, man. So I think Dungey's going to hand Edward Plessinger a remote control and go, you know what, last time you won a championship, I was using one of these. I'm sitting on the couch, right?
Oh, yeah, exactly. So it's phenomenal what this 450 class has delivered this year. Yes, Tomac and Sexton are the class of the field, but these guys are still digging and fighting. And right now, Dungey would have that elusive overall podium, but he's got to hold off Plessinger to get it. Plessinger did get a podium earlier in the year at Southwick. And Christian Craig is lurking. You can see in the back.
I just saw that, and I was looking. Jason Anderson's back there, too, and they're still running some pretty good times, and Anderson's always capable of showing some speed. And you know what? He's won 2 overalls this year. It's the only guy that's won overalls other than our two championship contenders here. And then out front, Chase Sexton still holding about a 4-second lead, and it's just starting to dwindle down. And look at Eli Tomac throws his fastest lap of the race. He just did a 2:01 flat, and Chase Sexton 2:01 some incredible runs here. That was Eli Tomac's fastest lap of the race.
And the fastest lap of anyone. And what was a 5-second lead went down to 4. Then in the next sector, Sexton was able to pull it back to 4.2, but it is not over.
These guys, I just don't think they got the memo, realizing the track's a lot rougher. The track is just beat to you-know-what. And I tell you, I can't believe the times are turning. That's not easy to do.
Yeah, 1:58 was the best anyone had. That was Sexton in practice. They're not that far off of that. 15 minutes down, 15 minutes to go. With a 15-minute phone call, you can save 15% or more on your motorcycle insurance with Geico. And you get the feeling these final 15 minutes are going to tell so much of the 2022 story. First of all, as far as Ryan Dungey wanting that podium, he's got to hold off his teammate, Plessinger, to get it. But also, Tomac's not going to go down without a fight. He's not going to just let Sexton have this moto. Can he close the gap?
That's this story isn't over yet. They got 15 minutes more, as you just mentioned. And I just think right now, Eli Tomac so badly wants this moto win, because you go into Fox Raceway with the luxury of finishing second, both motos behind Chase Sexton, and still win the championship. That is something he wants so badly. So I'll be surprised if Eli just doesn't start hanging it out here a little bit.
Right. If Tomac were to go 1-1 today and Sexton 2-2, the 7-point lead that would give Tomac means if he finishes second in both motos next week, he's champion no matter what. That is a massive advantage. And you know Sexton knows it, and you know Tomac knows it. So, as you said, buckle up, everybody. The next 13 minutes and 2 laps, it's going to get wild, because Sexton has to maintain this gap. And he is. He's got it back to 4.6.
Yeah, it's an impressive. These guys, there you go. Sexton just did his quickest lap of the race, a 2:01.2. So these guys are stepping up each lap. It's incredible.
So Tomac still has the best lap of the moto, but the last time around, Sexton just put in a lap quick enough to get the gap back to where it was. Stay with us.
Is brought to you by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on motorcycle insurance. Motosport.com. Make your next ride your best ride. And by Monster Energy. Unleash the beast.
We call the Rig Riot, where the Monster Energy athletes greet the fans every Saturday morning, including Eli Tomac and Chase Sexton. While we are away at break, the battle for the podium, and a big move by Aaron Plessinger to get around his teammate, Ryan Dungey.
Yeah, right now he just makes a move up to the tree corner there. So, he takes the outside the long way. Ryan hits that little bit of that hook, and that Tucker bump gets up the inside here. I think Aaron might have had this section on a GNCC race or something. He kind of knew that secret line would develop, but that was a great pass by Aaron Plessinger.
And shout out to Aaron's dad, the AMA Hall of Famer, Scott. I saw him today. Track. There was a boulder on the track. He went to grab it. He got landed on by a motorcycle. He lost his index and middle finger. Lost it. And he's walking around with a giant bandage right now. And he's one of the toughest people I've ever met. Scott Plessinger, his dad. And he's like, it's all right. He just got an ace bandage. This happened last weekend.
I got eight others, huh? Okay, yes. So Aaron Plessinger here trying to do the same thing, but Kenny counters a little bit, blocks him towards the inside. So, again, AP is making some good moves here, and he's got his sights set on that 94, Ken Roxon.
And this would be for third. By the way, up front, Tomac has now got the gap under 4 seconds. It is 3.8. That's about as close as it has been in the last 15 minutes of this moto. So Tomac, we know how strong he is late in the race, and he's throwing down as you watch Roxon and Plessinger. We've got the Thor battle box, so you can watch Sexton in the lead.
Yeah, I don't know exactly what happened on that lap, but Chase Sexton 2:03.7, way off of what he was doing. Maybe got caught in a lap or made a mistake. And, of course, Eli Tomac, what's he do? Comes back with another 2:01.6. So another 2:01. Anytime these guys are nailing 2:01s, you're going to work your way towards the front if you can keep doing it lap after lap, and Eli's doing that.
Sexton getting through lap traffic, and Plessinger attacking Roczen. He's on the outside, can't quite make it happen.
Yeah, that first corner has been such a great passing opportunity. We've seen so many good moves, inside, outside, all different options. But it's been a terrific. The track has raced really well today. This is one of the best we've had all year.
Tomac has it down to 2.3. Plessinger finally completing the pass for third of the moto.
And Aaron, you're seeing he's using all sorts of different lines, inside, outside, and it's not the same line each lap. He takes them all over. He's comfortable going all over this track, and certainly his best track of the year so far.
Roczen showing some staying power like he did last week, fighting back right now in this battle. He actually tipped over in the first moto. That's why he ended up 7th, but he was in the fight all the way until then. Tomac has taken it from 2.8 down to 2.6. So we'll give you the visual here in a moment. Anderson has moved around Craig, by the way, for 5th. You noticed that, Brock. And there are your contenders. Under the covered bridge goes Sexton, and a pile of lap riders in front of him. And
boy, this is
Tomac's close.
It is. This is getting close, coming right into our corner over by our compound there, that right-hand corner. Look at the shape of those berms, Jason. They're just every one of them. Some of them are hooked, some of them are not. All the ruts. This is a drop down into a low left-hand corner. Eli Tomac chooses the inside line, runs it down the very, very left side. And now Chase has got a gaggle of geese ahead of him. He's got to figure out a way to get by, and the blue flag is waving.
Yes, but man, the damage done. Tomac has really taken the gap down now. 1.1 seconds in it. There's Tomac on the number 3. Sexton still has one more rider to clear.
That's the corner that Eli made the pass for the lead on Chase in the first one. He just tries to replicate the same move back to the inside here, and now we got one more lap rider between the two championship contenders, and I think it'll be short work for Eli Tomac to go around him.
1.3 seconds the distance between the 23 and the 3. There's Anderson making moves. He has gotten around Dungey, and that'll move him well up into the top 5 now. Back to Sexton over the top of Godzilla. He's going to have to weather this storm because Tomac is coming.
Yeah, it looks like Anderson went past Roczen into the 4th place there, so I don't know. He's only 2 seconds behind Aaron Plessinger. I don't want to rain on the parade of the Indiana Hoosier faithful for Aaron Plessinger, but boy, Jason Anderson's certainly running some good times right now and getting close.
Sexton gets the drive out of that corner. It's the monster launch here. 1.7 seconds now. So Sexton trying to answer the challenge from Tomac. Unbelievable. They're this close again.
A little different move there. I mean, Tomac took that same line we saw earlier that Dungey got past there, but Tomac, when he hit the little chucker bump in there, he actually popped over the next one and was able to get back on the ground and drive out. So good technique, and Eli is just making a run there.
He's got it down to 1 second. He was much better in that exchange. Tomac put in the late charge to get Sexton in Moto 1. Yeah, and he's trying to do it again.
Yep, there's a little rhythm section in there underneath that covered bridge, and coming through there, he's facing one of the jumps and popping over the next one. So great technique in there, and gosh, these ruts are just getting treacherous.
Sexton, it's got to be clean now. One more lap rider for Tomac to worry about. Let's check the lap time.
Boy, I'd like to see a little more enthusiasm from that blue flag waving from that flagger when the championship's on the line, but Eli's already passed the lapper. He's trying to close in here, but you can see the bikes dancing around between them. That section in front of the mechanics is getting so rough.
Sexton actually a half second quicker than Tomac that last time around, so the gap sits at 1.5 seconds. That is virtually nothing. Barsha appears to be out of the moto. Looks like they're working on the motorcycle. Troy Lee designed Red Bull gas. Can Tomac get another charge in and get it back to a second on Sexton?
Yeah, we have 5 minutes left and 2 laps, and this time I'm going to try to get that countdown clock. This is my first race here before I kind of made the first one.
I'm not sure about that.
Yeah,
but yes.
Yeah. Last time I was looking at it almost from a backwards standard. I thought we were going to have 3 laps to go, but we'll see what happens. So right now we probably have 5 laps to go, so it's Eli's got to make a move sooner than later.
And we'll see the split when they hit the next sector. I feel like Tomac's a little closer than he was. And this middle section of the track is where Tomac has done his best work all day long.
That was a good exchange there, that little switchback section, even battling the lap or changing a different line. See if he pops that same thing right there. You see that? He kind of hits it, pops over, gets a little drive down, taking the Aaron Plessinger line down in Hoosier hole there. Big mistake. Big mistake.
Tomac.
Yeah, I saw that coming. He was getting cross-rutted early on. That is possibly a game changer for the moto. He's going to have to really try to recover from that.
He lost 2 seconds right there. Went from 1.5 to 3.4. So now the advantage shifts back to Chase Sexton. And it is down to millimeters, inches, tiny mistakes making massive differences. And you can see Tomac hanging it out now to try to get the time back. This is Anderson on the Monster Kawasaki trying to get Plessinger for third in the moto with the ETS Racing Fuels drone cam. Anderson, wow, blows by.
Just blows by. I think Aaron missed that triple coming out of there.
But Anderson was only seventh, I believe, in the first moto. He went down in the first turn. So Plessinger would still be in position for the overall podium. But what a charge from Anderson right here.
Yeah, if you remember back at that whole shot replay of the first moto, we saw the 21 laying flat out in the first corner there. So he did a great job of recovering. That's the first time he hasn't been in the top three in many, many races. But Jason making a nice run here, getting into third place. But again, as you mentioned, it's not going to make a difference for Aaron Plessinger. He still end up third overall.
Meanwhile, two things happened at once. Not only did Tomac make the mistake and have a bad lap with a 2:04.7, but Sexton just went back into the 2:01s with a 2:01.5. It wasn't his best lap of the moto, but it was darn close. And now the gap sits at 6.1.
Yeah, we don't want to nitpick 0.3 of a second, 25 minutes into a race, but that was a fantastic lap right there. If there was ever just a flyer sprinter lap for Heater time to get away and capitalize on the mistake that Eli Tomac made, that was the one for Chase to do it. And this is how championships are won right here. This little moment, that was great camera work to be able to capture Eli's mistake back there. We saw exactly what happened.
And to capture the gap, which is a night and day difference between where it was one lap ago. And it has been so fun to watch these two exchange. The experienced veteran, really a living legend of the sport now, Eli Tomac, with 3 titles in this series. And the young up-and-comer of Chase Sexton. We go back to this battle, which is Craig and Roczen for 5th. They both are ahead of Dungey. Craig trying to work his way around him on the outside.
Yeah, Christian Craig has certainly seen the experience and the racecraft of Roczen here. I mean, he's not going to give it up easily, and it's Christian Craig is trying some different lines, but a lot of these lines come together, so he's going to have to try something a little different than he's doing right now.
Yeah, Dunn just dropped pretty far back now. He's almost 7 seconds behind them. Ran a 2:07 the last time around. Craig.
Yeah, Christian's been quick through here right here. I was thinking maybe he's going to make a run up the inside. And this next corner is a right-hander, so Christian's trying to get back on the ground and get inside. He might have it right there. Good job, Christian. That was and then
the hook got him.
Get the hook. He got the hook. Exactly.
Bounces the bike out of the rut, but not enough to allow Roczen to get back by him. So Christian Craig has been digging like this through traffic all year. Now into the number 5 spot.
Yeah, he really has. And this is the Christian Craig we all expected and wanted to see, be out there getting near the front of the field and running well inside the top 5 with regularity. So glad to see him back doing this. It's a nice ride for the Monster Energy Yamaha rider.
Back to Sexton. 8.8 seconds is the gap. Is it over here at Ironman? You never know with the way this championship has gone. Every time you think you right where their momentum is headed, it changes. But the fans here are sensing it. It's the Midwestern boy from Illinois. Come here to Indiana. There's a lot of people cheering for him. I met some riders from the Chicago Dirt Riders Club. They're Sexton fans. They're here to cheer their boy on. And if it ended like this, they would score the exact same amount of championship points today, 47. Sexton would win the overall because the tiebreaker is the better second moto finish. He's now stretched it to 9.2 seconds, but I'm afraid to say too much right now. It can change at any moment.
The curse of the announcer, but yeah, right now it's, I don't like to say that Eli Tomac is just settled in and realized he tried, he got close, just about fell on the ground. And, but Eli has enough distance on it. Jason Anderson, he could probably fall over and still get back up, but it's just, this gap has just gotten possibly too large with just 3 laps left.
And if it ends this way, it'll go back to where it was when the day began. A 1-point lead for Eli Tomac. And how large does a 1-point penalty that Sexton incurred at round 3 in Colorado We had the wheels on the ground safety flag, and he cleared a double jump, took a 1-point penalty. Now, everyone starts the year saying every point counts. Rarely does a title come down to 1 point. But we are looking at that scenario right now.
Well, now you're just intriguing me. I'm going to have to pull out a result and see if they have, if you look at every one of their moto finishes, do they basically have the identical moto finishes? And that's how they got the point.
The tiebreaker is that we'd have to see, yes.
But how many wins they have? Well, Eli's got more wins, though, but it's we got to see how it is. How do they go 22 races and come up with the exact same points if you gave Chase Sexton back that one penalty point? So pretty impressive. It's, again, we said that at the opening of this show. Never in the history have we had a 10-round race go this late in this close on the points. And now we're 11 rounds into it. So obviously never in history have we ever gone 11 rounds and been 1 point apart.
We had a 2-point gap all the way back in 1996. Team Jeremy McGrath and Jeff Emig. And Emig ended up winning that title. But a 1-point gap, I've got to think this is the closest it will ever have been going into a finale. And Chase Sexton, well, Tomac answered the call of the first moto. His back was against the wall. He had to respond. He passed Sexton. He got the moto win. And this has been the everything I can do, everything you can do, I can do. Sexton does it in Moto 2.
The ebb and flow of the last 4 motos in this series has just been remarkable. And even though this is not going down to the last, 1 second at this time, this is still, there's so much going on right there behind the scenes and what ifs and, psychological warfare, confidence shifting one way or the other. This is just incredible. This is now flowing back towards Chase's situation. I mean, going into Fox Raceway, he has to feel comfortable. But, man, 2 motos is a long time.
Oh, yeah, and he won the 2 motos when we raced at Fox Raceway to start this season. And how about this? We're celebrating the 50 years of pro motocross in America, and this would be the closest championship fight we have ever had in 50 years.
Well, got to put an asterisk in there. There was one that finished in a tie, but there was this one that's had this many motos this late.
Yes, at this distance.
Some of the early races way back when, honestly, some of those split series and things, some of them were only 5 and 6 rounds long in each classes, so it was a little different, but it doesn't matter. This, to me, has been the most exciting motocross season that I've ever witnessed, and I have been around. I think I, unfortunately, counted it was 46 years that I've been seeing AMA Pro Motocross. I don't want to age myself, but that's 46 years. I haven't seen all 50 of them up close and personal, but I have seen 46 of them.
There's a couple guys still at the races that have been here for all 50, so you're still a youngin'. Don't worry.
I know, I'm a young buck.
Last lap, and Chase Sexton answering back. He was in a must-win Moto 2 situation last week. He was in a must-win Moto 2 situation this week. He did it. Now, credit to Tomac. He was absolutely against the ropes in Moto 1. So he has proven his bona fides, his clutch performance in the first moto, but Sexton has answered back this time.
He has barely a half a lap to go right now. Again, you mentioned the back against the wall, and each time he keeps answering the bell. He's like a prize fighter that just won't give up, and this is hard. Eli's, like, I've been here before. I'm supposed to be able to break this young kid, but Chase has been in some championships hunts too, and he's had some ups and downs, and he's had some heartbreaks. And what I like more about Chase is that, he's had some races where he's been leading and falling down. Those are heartbreakers. They hurt. And the fact that he's able to recover from this and just go, you know what? Again, Control Alt Delete out of the memory bank and to do what we've seen right here today. This is beyond impressive, and it's training, and it's again, got to tip the hat.
Couple of fist pumps over the big jumps on this lap. This has to feel so good to bring it down to the finale. Chase Sexton wins the Ironman National. It was a tie on points for the day, a 2-1 and a 1-2. We leave another race saying both riders have reason to feel confident to take the positives away, but Sexton is the overall winner. He's down 1 point. It's simple. And look at that. Still so much respect between these two. But I was going to say it's simple. Whoever beats the other rider at the finale is going to be the champion.
Yeah, Eli's got to hope for a 1-2-2-1 something. They got to split motos next week, and I think the people's ticket sales are Fox Raceway right now. I can't wait. It's
going to be an unbelievable
It's only a
atmosphere.
week away, and I'm so excited already about it. So it's going to be fantastic. And Honda has an opportunity to win both classes. Been a while since they've done something like that.
Yep, and again, they have not won this title since 2004. They've got a shot going into the finale. You did mention, though, that 1 point lead for Tomac. Sexton has to outscore Tomac next week. If they go 2-1, 1-2 again, Tomac will win the title by a single point, but that's next week. Sexton wants to soak this up in front of the home fans. He's done it. He's won.
Yeah, it's been a while since we've had a Midwest boy do so well like this. I'm Austin Faulkner's from this area, but I think back about the great champion Mark Barnett, and from the Illinois area, and so it's fun to see seeing the love be spread around the country a little bit, and I guess Ryan Dungey's a little upper Midwest, but it's nice. This is a hometown area, and Aaron Plessinger, another one from this area, so when you get to ride this chocolate cake, I guess you learn how to ride motorcycles real well.
Oh, yeah. All the lessons have paid off for Chase Sexton and certainly Eli Tomac as well. They put on one heck of a season. We still have one race to go. We'll talk to him about today after this.